guys, I'm Riley.
And I'm Audrey.
And welcome to the Dramatic Effect podcast, where we dive into all things film, books, Broadway, and beyond.
1 part book club, 1 part TV movie binge, and all parts drama.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back, everyone. We had a little hiatus.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know if you'd call it a hiatus. We had to take a beat because Daisy Jones ended and we were depressed.
Yeah, the depression set in.
It set in.
Sure.
We missed Billy. We missed our girl Daisy.
Yes, we couldn't do anything without them. But then we're moving past it.
We're moving past it. It's so funny because like even after we taped that last episode, like I was just obviously on that side of TikTok for so long, and I feel like I kept like just seeing new edits and new like videos that like gave me a new appreciation for different parts of that show.
Yeah.
And like it's just so funny how like far I came from the first episode when I like kind of didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
No, it's like goes to show, and maybe it's a good omen for like my dating life. Like if on the first date you're not feeling it, like
no,
keep pushing.
Absolutely not.
No,
I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
Okay. So what's like your dating philosophy? You just jump right in.
I think that there has to be some sort of spark.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my best friends the other day, and she's like, yeah, there's this guy that like, I've been seeing for a little bit, but like, and I have a lot of fun with him, and like, we do a lot together, and it's always a fun time, but like, it's just something's missing. And I'm like, if it has only been like a month and there's already something missing, it's never gonna come.
Well, the month mark is also like, at that point it's like, if there's nothing, then there's never gonna be
anything.
Like you gave it a chance.
I think that if there's nothing the first date,
okay,
that's a telltale sign.
See, I think you can give it like 2 or 3 to see, because it's like I've come away from dates where I'm like, I don't know, I just like wasn't like obsessed. And then by the 3rd date, I was like a little more interested, or by the 3rd date, I was like, oh no, this isn't going anywhere. Yeah. But I guess, you know what? I'm still single, so I can't say that either is right or wrong.
Maybe I haven't been on enough like dates, because I guess I've only been on...
Well, you've only been out of college for like less than a year, right? Like I think that dating in the real world is a little different than college dating.
But I'm talking about real world dating. Like I've only ever been on maybe 4 first dates in total, and only 2 of those went past a first date.
Interesting.
And like I don't know, I'm sure if I like had given the other 2 more of a chance, I probably would have liked them more, maybe. Yeah. But I'm like, would I have though? I don't know.
Sometimes I'm also like, maybe I want to go on a second date with this guy because I'd rather do that than go on another first date with a brand new person.
Very true.
Because like that's exhausting.
But to me, I'm so busy that I'm like, I just don't want to go on a date, period.
I mean, same.
It's like I don't even feel like it anymore.
And that's the real reason I'm single.
The real
it's
thing.
Fucking exhausting to date, and the apps suck. And we've talked about this on the show, but it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible.
And I was on Raya, and I was just like, saw like the hottest football player, and I was like, why can't like he like me? Because then I would like totally go on the date. But,
I know.
The other guys, like,
it's tough.
There's like no, there's just like Raya's not as like actionable. At least like Hinge can like result in a date.
Yeah, when people message me on Raya, I 9 times out of 10 will not answer.
I know.
And it's not even that like there's no reason behind it. It's just also the messages are so dry and just so terrible that I'm just like,
talk.
This is not gonna happen.
If they can't muster up just like a little bit of banter,
just give me a little joke.
Yeah,
give me a small, and it can be the stupidest joke ever. You can literally look up jokes.
Totally.
And send me one.
No.
And that's funny.
But it shows like a little bit of effort.
A little bit. But I also don't blame them for not wanting to make the effort, because I didn't. Yeah. I didn't want to make the effort.
Fair.
So why should you? I get it. So I don't know.
Yeah. And
it's
then like
silly.
My imaginary partner in my head is like Aaron Tveit. So that brings us to our topic of today.
Yes. Moulin Rouge.
The Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
So did you watch the movie?
Yes, I did this morning.
Okay, I'm so excited to hear your thoughts, because like I think I know what you're gonna say. But
I feel like you do.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so
how about you give me a prediction of what you think I'm gonna say?
I just don't think you liked it. I just like really had a feeling it wasn't going to be your cup of tea.
Correct. You are correct.
I mean,
no.
But like Baz Luhrmann is not everyone's cup of tea.
Totally.
And I feel like I know instantly. Like Allie, my roommate, like I will not even get her to try to watch a Baz Luhrmann. Like she couldn't get through Elvis. Did you watch Elvis?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God.
I didn't watch it, and now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't.
No, but okay, Elvis is a little different. I think it's definitely the best Baz Luhrmann movie of all of them.
Yeah.
It's a little less quirky and a little more like you can like focus in on like the character of Elvis.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge, out of all his movies, is the most chaotic.
It is so chaotic. That was one of the first things that I wrote was, I hate that the camera is slanted and on everyone. It's giving me agita and anxiety. And it's just, there's so much going on that it was giving me anxiety. Like, I literally felt it in my chest, my anxiety watching it. And I'm like, there's no reason I should feel anxious right now. But it's just, there's so much stimuli. And it was like,
especially with this movie, it's in like the first 10 minutes. It's not like,
it's not
you get
even
like set up. The entire first 10 minutes is like boom, boom, boom. Crazy shit is happening.
A million different things.
So it's so funny that you commented on the camera angles because literally if you like read about Baz Luhrmann and his style of filming and directing, the camera angles are like very, very intentional.
I mean, I think that, and then I also wrote that I could definitely appreciate the thought and talent that goes into creating such an intricate film with all of, like, I know that every one of those shots was planned out. Every camera angle, everything that he put in that. I mean, it's incredible, but
it's not your cup of tea.
It's just a little overwhelming for me.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, I can totally see that. I think for me, it's, like, literally, like, it matched, like, the wavelength of my, like, ADHD brain.
Oh.
So, like, it was jumping around. I'm like, okay, I can follow this. Like, this works.
Wow.
But I do also, the first time I tried to watch the movie, I did it on a plane.
Oh, geez.
And I had, like, bad headphones. And I remember just being like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. And I turned it off.
Up. Yeah.
I literally felt like I was going to throw up. Like, I literally was like, I need to turn this off. And then I, like, got home and I watched it again. And now I, like, ooh. And now I love it.
Uh-huh.
But it's funny because you saw the Broadway show first.
Yes.
And you loved the Broadway show.
I love the show.
And it has that chaos to it, but in a very much more just, like, stage presence sort of way.
Well, that's also because with a camera and on film and with special effects and animation and all those different types of things that you can include in film, that the spectacle of all of it can be a lot more than it actually can be on stage.
Right.
And so the stage production is not as overwhelming. For me, the stage production is like my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I love a big show, a spectacle. And that's what Moulin Rouge is on Broadway and the musical. I think it's just a fantastic spectacle. But the spectacle in the movie is just
very jumpy.
Extremely jumpy.
So that brings me to like my first like the first stark comparison that I noticed when I saw the show versus the movie is like Satine's character, I think in the Broadway show is a lot more like serious, like strong woman vibes.
Definitely.
And in the movie, it was a little more like, well, first of all, just like sillier, like over the top, but also like she was a much more vulnerable character in the movie in the sense that like she had no other choice for herself. Versus in the Broadway show, I felt like they made it seem like she was doing everything she was doing with the Duke because she was doing it for the good of the club and the good of the like the other girls and the other people working there to save the club, not to save herself.
Exactly. Yeah, she definitely wasn't doing that in the movie. Like, and in the movie, I noticed like one of the first things that they say about her is she sold her love to men. And then that, I'm like, wait a minute, is she a prostitute? So, but in the show, in the musical, I don't think that they ever say or indicate that she's a prostitute.
Yeah, it's
And
a little vaguer, and it's a little vaguer in the show.
Yeah,
I agree, because I can't confirm that she was a prostitute, but like maybe it was more just like burlesque stripper vibes.
Yeah, I guess.
The only thing is, I feel like in Roxanne, like you can never trust a woman that sells her body to the night.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah. But that's the only indication you get in the show.
Yeah.
Or in the musical.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
In the movie, they touch on it multiple times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so she definitely is, ? I don't know. I'm not really sure.
In the movie, for sure. Like,
Okay.
I think she very much so is. And I think, like, that's part of it.
And that's like, part of, like, her helplessness is, like, that's kind of all she knows. And I guess also the way that Zidler, the showman,
yes, right.
he's a lot more aggressive in the movie than he is
Yes.
in the musical.
I like him so much more in the musical.
So
He's like a
much more
sweet,
in the
lovable
musical.
character.
Yes.
In the musical, he's a little more selfish in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think in the musical, and I remember so specifically thinking this, I was like, wow, he like really cares for her and has been looking out for her. And
Yeah.
she's been looking out for him. Whereas like in the movie, he really like kind of only cares about himself and he doesn't want to lose the club. So he knows.
But do they even, in the movie, is that a point of contention that they're about to lose the club?
So the point of contention with the losing of the club isn't like bankruptcy and that the Duke's saving it. It's more that in order to get the Duke to invest in this new show, he needs the deed.
Got it.
So it's collateral.
Got
so
it.
it's not so much like the Moulin Rouge wasn't like failing when he came around, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely not.
But he, offered up the deed as collateral to get the Duke as an investor on this new show.
Got it.
And they do the number Spectacular, which like is a little. Did they do that song in the show?
No,
yeah.
no.
Like that's another like over the top number
So
where you're like,
much.
whoa.
So
I have
much
to
going
skip
on.
through that one in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like that
No,
one,
like
I'm
I
like,
was watching it and I was like, fast forward.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't watch it anymore. Because especially after the beginning. And I'm already, like I was saying,
You
like in my
whiplash.
real life, I'm overwhelmed. So then that added it to it. And I was like, I don't think I can do this right
You're
now.
probably turning on the movie being like, fucking Riley making me watch this right now.
Like not really, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to be doing this morning.
On a Tuesday morning.
Especially when it was that
Overstimulating.
jumpy and
I think is
overstimulating.
the word.
Yeah, overstimulating is the perfect word for it.
And so the interesting thing with the show that I don't know if maybe it's just because like it's more recent pop music. Like there were certain songs that I was kind of like, are we really putting like Chandelier by Sia in a Broadway show? Like I was kind of like, oh, I like still kind of have like radio trauma from that song. Like I've heard that song too many times. But like then there's also songs like Bad Romance which like they did like the mashup with Toxic, which I think is like one of my favorite numbers in the whole show. And I mean that's obviously not in the movie. Those songs didn't exist yet.
Yeah, and that was something that I like made a note of because I actually like where Roxanne falls in the musical much better than where it falls in the movie, because where it falls in the movie is where Bad Romance typically is in the musical. And obviously Bad Romance didn't exist. It wasn't there, so they weren't going to include it. But I think that Bad Romance is absolutely perfect in the musical. And that like dance number between Nini and the Argentinian, I don't know what his name is.
I think he's only referred to as the Argentinian in the movie. And then there's Henri. The narcoleptic Argentinian is what he's credited as in the movie.
He's Santiago in the
That's nice they gave him
musical.
a name.
Yeah. But I like that. I just love Bad Romance in the musical, and it's funny that then their characters are also sneaking around, and that wasn't in the movie, I don't think. right? Or was it? I don't know.
No, not really. Like maybe something that we missed and was much more subtle, but like not a plot point. I thought that was fun, and I liked that. Nini is her name.
Yep.
I liked that in the show she had a good relationship with Satine.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Not really, but they weren't. In the movie, she's a bitch in the movie.
Bitch.
Like she rats her out in the movie.
Yes,
and
I made a point about that.
And in the show, she doesn't rat her out, right?
She doesn't rat her out. She saves her. She's the one that tells her that the Duke has killed somebody before and he's gonna do it again. So she needs to be careful sneaking around with Christian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like right after she rats. Or wait.
Right after he's watching the. He's watching the final number.
Yes, of
and
the
she's like, why would she end up with the what is it called?
With the guitarist. I don't
yeah, what was it? I don't know.
Some of the terms in the movie are like over my head because of like the timing.
Yeah, literally.
Like the time that existed in. But he's like the lowly guitarist man. He plays it's a guitar type of instrument he plays.
I think it starts with an S. Sitar player.
Sitar.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
For the evil Maraja.
Yes. So she's like, why would she end up with the lowly like sitar player when she had
could be with the Maraja?
AKA like why would she be with the writer when she could be with the Duke?
Exactly. And then he kind of puts that together. Also, I like the Duke's character in the movie better than I like the Duke's character in the musical.
I was about to say this. I think it's a really important thing to note that in the musical, the person they cast as the Duke is kind of like hot.
Exactly.
It makes more sense for him to be this like funky, insufferable, awful guy.
And he's whiny and he gets so upset about stupid little things. Like, it makes him so much more unlikable. Whereas, and not that he's not unlikable in the musical, but in the musical, he's a little bit sultry and charming in a way.
He has charm at times.
Yeah.
I remember being like so shocked by that, being like, oh, like I could maybe be attracted to that.
No, literally. And like I remember when I saw it with who did I see it with? With my friend Gab. When he came out on stage, she was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Because he's hot.
And I mean, he has his like shirt unbuttoned, low.
Yeah, and he looks good.
Yeah, so like I completely agree.
I wish that they kind of made him more of a rinky-dink character like he is in the movie.
Exactly.
And annoying and unlikable. And
I get like, okay, it's like, yeah, maybe he's hot and rich, but like she's in love with Christian and like that's what matters. But
like I don't know.
I just like I liked that a lot about the movie too. That it was just like such a stark difference. Like obviously she's gonna go for like the hot writer.
Definitely.
So some interesting things about just like the casting in the movie are Kate Hudson auditioned for Satine. And she said that like her audition with Baz Luhrmann was like to this date like one of her favorite auditions she's ever done. Like she said it was so much fun.
I can imagine because when she was crawling around on the floor, when she's like telling Christian to like keep going with the poetry, I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, like to play this part, you had to just do so much.
Yeah, like someone has to really pull that out of you.
Yeah, and I can imagine that audition must have been
quite the process. Yeah. And she said like it was like hours on stage with Baz Luhrmann working on it, and they ended up going with like someone older, aka Nicole Kidman. But another person they considered was Courtney Love, which I thought was interesting. I don't even know who that is. Like she was married to Kurt Cobain, so
I don't know. Wait.
You'll be surprised when you look her up. Like, she wouldn't have been right for this role.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, she's like
interesting.
OG rock age type person. So
got it.
I think Baz was maybe trying to tie some of that in because like initially Ozzy Osbourne was going to play the Green Fairy.
Yes, I saw that. Wait, and also the Green Fairy, I didn't like where they put the Green Fairy.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that it worked. And that the fact that I guess he was drinking absinthe before the first time he
that
met
first
her.
night. Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I thought it makes so much more sense in the show when they had him doing that as like more of like a self-medicating thing.
Yeah,
and he's like trying to recover from her,
but realizing that he can't go without her, and then he goes after her.
yeah,
And that's when she tells him, "I don't love you."
Yeah.
in the show. Yeah.
what is it? They put it at the end of Roxanne on the soundtrack. Like, you mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
I feel nothing for you.
I feel nothing for you.
And
yeah,
I thought the sets were so great in the show as well.
the sets are fantastic.
Like,
in the show.
oh, okay. One of my favorite numbers in the show that I feel like is really underrated is Material Girl or Material World, and it's like it's a mashup of Only Girl in the World and Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. And it's when they're dressing her up and she's like in a fitting, and the
Is
Duke
that when she comes down from Oh,
No.
I know exactly what you're talking about. In Act 2,
Yes,
when
it's in
she's
Act
getting
2.
dressed and then she has like the little puff.
Yes, and she's like a kiss on the hand.
Baby,
Quite
quite
continental.
continental.
No, but then she goes, but it won't pay the rental. So good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And Ashley.
Loren.
Yes, Ashley Loren. So, I mean, like her voice is silk. Because that's who I saw. Is that who you saw as Satine?
Yeah. She left the same day as Aaron.
As Aaron.
Yeah.
And I mean, thank God we got to see him in that role.
Yeah.
So good. Like, he was such a good Christian.
Oh my God, he's perfect. But also Derek Klena, also perfect.
Really?
Yeah, and there was a line. What was it? It was.
I mean, I could see him being like, the thing with Aaron Tveit as Christian is like he's a very like masculine man to me.
Yeah.
And I do love Ewan McGregor as Christian in the movie because he's like such a simp and like such a softie.
Yeah.
And like there's something so sorrowful about his version of Roxanne, whereas like Aaron's was like grittier. Like he's just like he's angry and upset. But maybe that's because he's like also like a little like drunk on absinthe and you know, like it there's like more like it's from the gut versus like with Ewan, he's just like sorrowfully looking up at Satine up with the Duke. So it's like the difference in the circumstance of them singing that song. But I mean, I think Aaron needs to re-record Roxanne with the opt-up because it's just like
He
does
does.
not hit the same when I'm like listening to it on Spotify. Wait,
Believe me when I say I love you.
so that's how they did it in the movie. And
That's how they do it in the Broadway cast. But I
love you.
it's so good.
So good.
I just love him.
So
He's
much.
so perf.
So much. So interesting fact about, you were saying something about Derek Klena.
Oh, but
who's adorable.
he's fantastic. I in the cabaret the concert that I sang in, Derek Klena also sang in the concert. So I was like in a 5-foot radius of Derek Klena for I don't know, like an hour, and I was like, this is crazy.
Just loving it.
Well, also I had seen the show like 2 months before with him in it, so it was really cool.
Oh my God.
And then I
didn't
like
realize
chatted
you
with
also
him,
saw him in it.
Yeah, so I saw him in it in January, and then saw Aaron in it 2 weeks late or 3 weeks after. Wow. So it was crazy.
That's awesome. You got both of them. Was he with Ashley as well?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So they were also just all fantastic. The line where I don't know what song it's in. It's like, we should be lovers.
Yes, and that's a fact.
Yeah, it sounded exactly like Derek.
Ewan did?
Yes.
Yeah, they have more similar voices. Yeah.
And it was just interesting. I was like, oh my God. But also, funny enough, like because I had never seen the movie, I was really surprised at how many of the same songs were in the movie as the musical.
Yeah.
And I guess, one song that in the musical, I really just didn't understand why it was even in the musical, even though like I do love the song and I love who, I think he might have been the first person to record it, but Nature Boy, which is one of like Nat King Cole is one of the first people that I think ever recorded it.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand why it was in the musical because I was like, I feel like you could have put a better song here. But now that I see it's in the movie, I'm like, makes sense.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Beautiful line, fantastic line.
That's my favorite line in the whole
stunning.
show.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Thing.
Yeah.
But okay, so
good.
the fun fact about that song, it's so funny you brought that up. It was originally going to be Father Son by Cat Stevens.
I don't know that song.
Oh my God, beautiful song. And it's like my dad and brother sang it in karaoke once, and I literally sobbed my eyes
my
out.
God.
Because it's like, it's not time to make a change. I feel like we're on the toast right now singing as much as we are.
I know what you're talking about.
Like, it's like, just settle down and take it easy.
Yeah, I know
You're
that
still
song.
young. Cat Stevens said no to it being in the movie because he's Muslim, and the movie is very obviously like about like sex and it's a little raunchier.
Got it.
And he's like, no, this doesn't like align with my beliefs. So he said no, and he was one of the only artists other than the Rolling Stones to say no to having one of their songs in the show.
That's crazy.
So, but I mean, the fact that they ended up putting that song in, I think, worked out.
Yeah,
Like-
100%. I mean, it's a great song. But I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, there's so many. My narrow brain, I'm like, but like if they were gonna choose a Nat King Cole song, like why didn't they choose something else?
Right.
Me thinking that it's only a Nat King Cole song because I'm obsessed with Nat King Cole.
Are you really?
Oh yeah. I'm like obsessed.
I mean, love.
Yeah.
Definitely love. I feel like your drinking playlist has a lot of Nat King Cole on it.
No, it doesn't.
Really?
My drinking playlist doesn't have anything Nat King Cole. Do
Wait.
you know who Nat King Cole is?
Yeah.
Why would my drinking playlist have Nat King Cole
I
on it?
think
silly?
maybe one time another playlist.
Were you looking at you were looking at my other playlist?
I think another
my smiley
playlist.
face playlist.
Yep, that's probably what happened. I think I
And
got to
that
the
is-
end of drinking and it brought me to that.
This is
yes,
all
Audrey.
Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole.
Oh my God, that
a
is
whole
so funny because one time I
Yeah,
had
I
your
was
drinking
like,
playlist
what are you
on,
talking about?
and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of Frank Sinatra on this. I was like, that's so interesting because it's like
Absolutely not.
such house music vibes up until
no,
like
you just
the
got
end.
to the other playlist.
And in my brain, I was literally like, oh, maybe she just like, it's like supposed to take you through a night. So like first you're drinking and then it's like you're winding down. You listen to Frank Sinatra.
I'm dead.
That is
no.
so funny.
That is so funny.
But yeah,
No.
no. So I think it worked out that song was in it.
Definitely.
What was another one that I really loved that they added in the musical? Because it's so funny, like us looking at it backwards. Like I think it's funny that you're like, oh, this one is also in the movie, whereas I was like, oh, this is what they've added like to the show.
yeah.
So,
But I feel like it was a lot of newer songs that they then added to the show.
well, like everything that was added was like something that was written after 2006. At
Exactly.
least. So like, I mean, I love Truth, Beauty, Freedom, Love.
Mm-hmm.
So Come What May was actually initially written for Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. And
Interesting.
they ended up not using it. And I don't really know if like it would have been sung in the movie of Romeo and Juliet or they just like would have put it in the soundtrack. But the interesting thing is it wasn't eligible for any awards like Oscars or anything like that because it was written for a different movie and cut from the movie. And so it wasn't like an original song for Moulin Rouge.
Wow.
Which sucks because
How
it's,
interesting.
like deserves to win awards.
Yeah.
I mean that song is just like so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting tidbit.
That's crazy.
And then another note about Romeo and Juliet is Leonardo DiCaprio, who like Baz Luhrmann is obsessed with. He also put him in Gatsby.
See, so the thing is though, yeah, I think I like Baz Luhrmann for sure. I just
This one particular.
it was just it was sensory overload for me.
Yeah.
But because I love Gatsby.
And Gatsby is a little less sensory overload. There's more
There's a little bit of it, but not
in the same way.
in the same way, yeah.
Yeah. I think also a lot of it has to do with like the time because in the 90s, like I don't know if maybe the camera and the special effects like weren't as good to show this chaos in the way that maybe he was able to show it in Gatsby.
True.
But like
But with Romeo and Juliet,
Romeo and Juliet is sensory overload as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I
like,
haven't seen it.
It's the same thing. And one of the Montagues is the guy who played Henri.
Yeah.
So in in the movie, he's like a small person, but also not played by a small person. And he had like really bad back problems for like years after filming this movie.
No way.
Like apparently it like compressed his spine from being on his knees for all of filming, which I think is wild. But in the show, his version of the character is like in love with Satine, and they had like this history of like knowing each other forever.
Weird.
I didn't think that was like a necessary plot point.
It was extremely unnecessary, but also maybe that was how they had to tie in Nature Boy. I think that's kind of how they did it.
It was like a tweak.
And he was telling him like, yeah, you know, I loved her, but I lost her, so you better figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's when they sing that song.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it doesn't. I think they could have
they could have done a little bit
that
better
song
job.
in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point though.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so that actor is another like guy that's like been in a lot of Baz Luhrmann's films. And he was in Romeo and Juliet, and he played like one of the Montagues. But another thing that Baz Luhrmann always does in his movies, they call Romeo and Juliet, Flashddancing, and Moulin Rouge like the red curtain trilogy, because they all start with the red curtain at the beginning.
Yeah. And
there's always like an establishing narrator in his movies. So in Romeo and Juliet, it starts with like a newscaster, and she's like, in Fair Verona, like something, and it's like, you know, starts with like literally like a newscast behind her, because it's Romeo and Juliet taking like place in like modern times.
Got it.
And then in Moulin Rouge, it's, you know, a year later, but you see Christian in the beginning, like writing on his typewriter, being like, I was in love once. So like you always know at the beginning of the movie that it's gonna end in tragedy, which I think is interesting. So it always like, you know, it's gonna end in tragedy, but then the movie starts and there's like a lot of comedy mixed in.
Yep.
But then it still ends in tragedy.
Yep.
So I think that's a cool like setup to a lot of his films. And that's why I think that Elvis, and obviously Gatsby, like he starts the movie, like we know that Gatsby dies at the end of Gatsby. And that's why I think that Elvis is like an interesting change of pace for him in terms of his movies. And I definitely think you should watch it.
Okay.
Because if you liked Gatsby, I think you'll like Elvis.
Okay.
The reason a lot of people didn't like Elvis was because of Tom Hanks's character, because he's the narrator in the movie.
Okay.
And he has this like funky like German accent that people are like, that's so not necessary to the plot. But Austin Butler in that film is perfection, next level, like one of the most unbelievable like interpretations of like another human being I think
insane,
I've ever seen.
But like I don't know if I can take him seriously now, because
I know
all he does is talk in
that
Elvis voice.
I know,
but I guess I understand it, because it's like if you are in that for so long and you're doing something like that and you're so
it's like becomes so ingrained, it's like muscle memory.
Yeah, it makes sense that it's kind of in him now.
I can't be one to judge, because I literally think I would spend 5 minutes in like Alabama and be like, hey y'all, like put me in London, I'd be like, oh hello.
No,
like,
it's true. Like when you when I listen to how I spoke in high school and my Philly accent, disgusting. Disgusting. I never want to look at those videos, because I just sound like a loser. Not that a Philly accent is a loser, but I was trying to sound really cool.
Right.
And I just sounded like such a loser.
Go Birds.
No. No, I hate
it's so funny, the Philly accent. It's like everyone I know from Philly says like Ailey and Lauren.
Like
Wooder.
Lauren.
I think it's so funny that the name Lauren doesn't exist. It's Lauren.
It's Lauren. It's Lauren.
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 Yep, Lara.
I say orange.
Interesting.
I don't say orange. I say orange.
I say like Jersey says like button instead of button. But like, do people say button? Difference? Do people say button?
It's a button.
It's a button. My acting coach used to yell at me. She'd be like, button? What's a button? And I'm like,
a button.
It's a button.
What do you mean?
She's like, you mean a button? And I'm like, okay, fuck you.
I feel like that's like just the enunciation.
No, it's like enunciation. Yeah. So then I like was reading for like an audition, and the person was like, that sounds unnatural. Like, don't do that. Like, say the word how you would say the
How
word.
you would say it.
And I was like, okay.
Interesting.
Noted.
That's
so,
really funny.
Yeah, a little lesson I learned during my acting days.
There you go.
My short-lived acting days. So the show got nominated for 14 Tonys. I almost just did it again.
14?
14. And it won like
that.
6 at least, I think. Including Best Show, which I think is really interesting for a show that was made up so much of
something else.
Did
it win Best Musical?
I think it did.
What?
That's what it says on the side of the buses I see around the city.
Or was it just nominated?
Let's check.
Oh my God. It did win the Tony Award for Best Musical.
Yeah.
What year?
2021, I think.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. There probably wasn't really that much else on Broadway that was great.
Well, it was like a COVID times, yeah.
That makes sense then. I mean, other than that, I don't think that they would have won. Because that's also kind of crazy that...
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of what else was opening on Broadway during that time. Not a whole lot. Well, I think they initially opened like right before COVID, and they got pretty screwed on like their timing of opening.
Yeah, definitely.
But... You've seen Anne Juliet, right?
Yes, I have seen Anne Juliet.
And isn't that similar?
Anne Juliet is also a jukebox musical, but it's fantastic.
Oh, that's the term, is jukebox musical?
Yes, so it's, a jukebox musical is when there are songs, whether they're like pop songs or just like, they were released on their own and then they are weaved into the plot.
Okay, got it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So Anne Juliet is also a jukebox musical with a lot of the music is by the same guy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But it's like Katy Perry songs.
Katy Perry, Britney Spears, all that kind of stuff, and it's fantastic.
I hear it's amazing.
You should go see it.
I need to go see it.
You should.
But so I guess that's like more of a trend lately.
Yeah, I mean it definitely has become popular. I guess probably, in the 2000s and beyond.
Yeah.
People still rip on jukebox musicals, and I understand it.
I understand.
And it is a little corny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, like, you weave in
Chandelier
by
I couldn't get over that one song for some reason.
It's so funny. And sometimes when Aaron or Derek would break into a song, people just start laughing even though it's not a funny song.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's jukebox musical.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think it's a way to get people who aren't necessarily theater people to enjoy theater.
Yes.
Because, maybe they aren't a big fan of Wicked and the music in Wicked or, the music in Carousel or something like that.
Yeah.
But they like Lady Gaga and they like Britney Spears and they like that pop music. So this is a way for them to have an appreciation for musical theater.
Right.
And get into the theater.
And like it's like when people like to like know the songs at the concert they're going to.
Yep. I love to know the songs of anything before going in. And I feel like so many people do because you want to like kind of be able to like sing along, even though obviously in a theater you're not singing along, but it's fun.
Have you seen that video though of those people that got kicked out for singing along? I forget what show it was. Oh my God, I forget what show it was. It was a crazy video though. Apparently these two women were belting full volume along to a song, not a song, every song at a musical. I forget what show it was.
How did they not get kicked out in the first number?
So I don't know. They got kicked out eventually. And
that's crazy.
People.
That's just disrespectful.
Were booing. Wait, let me.
What?
And they were like putting up a fight, and they like wouldn't leave.
What? Is that like a stunt? Like when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, was that like a PR stunt? Like
it's
what's
like a
going
YouTube
on?
like prank video. Did you watch Jury Duty?
I haven't watched it. Should I?
You should. You should.
I heard it's fantastic.
It's fantastic, and you'll appreciate it as like a sketch comedy. Like,
so what is it? It's a TV show.
Okay, so it's a TV show, but this guy Ronald signed up to be a part of a documentary about like the jury system and the jury process.
But and he actually did. Like he's not an actor or anything, right?
He's not an actor. Everyone else, the whole
Is this a limited series?
It was only 8 episodes.
This?
Yeah, 100%.
So then how about we save chatting about it till next week and
we won't talk about it because it's like everyone's talking about it.
Because everyone's talking about it.
And so that's what we're gonna do next week.
Cool. I love a limited series.
You'll fly through it. I'm sure. So good. I'm so excited for you to watch it.
Okay,
oh
cool.
my God. He's like also kind of cute. Like Or
Love.
not kind of. He's like 6'6" and kind of hot.
Okay.
And James Marsden's in it. And
he is perfect.
I mean, he's like chiseled from the gods.
He is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally chiseled from the gods.
Yeah. No, okay. I'm excited to discuss
married?
it. I think he might be.
He probably is.
Probably. Someone hopefully has scooped up James Marsden.
I mean, like, somebody definitely did, but I'm just wondering.
But, I was looking at women arrested.
Lisa Lindy.
Is that his wife?
Yeah, she's stunning. Makes sense. Oh, wait, no, her ex. Wait. Oh my God.
Is he on the market?
Let's check. He is, in fact, 49. Yeah, no, they got divorced in 2011, but he has 3 children.
Still would.
Still would.
Oh, The Bodyguard was the show she was at.
The Bodyguard.
That the woman was dragged out of.
Oh, I don't think I know that show.
Oh, it's a West End show. Sorry. Okay, so this wasn't on Broadway.
This was on the West End.
It was in Manchester.
That is so messed up.
And I guess they made The Bodyguard the musical. I didn't even know that.
Oh. Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, definitely do not, if you've never been to a show, don't sing along to the songs if you know them.
Even at a jukebox one, though, because
even at a jukebox
even on
musical,
the toast.
Unless it's literally the end.
Like curtain call and you're standing and
everybody's
you're
singing.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's the vibe, you'll know. But otherwise,
do
not do that.
No.
But we got so sidetracked from what I was talking about with Leonardo DiCaprio and how apparently Leonardo really wanted, also it sounds weird calling him Leo.
Yeah.
Really wanted to play Christian. But
really?
Can't sing. So Baz was like, dude, no. But
that's really funny. I mean, they could have done like a Zac Efron like Drew Seeley moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't they do that?
And apparently Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger also auditioned.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. So interesting to hear like who auditioned and who got it.
And like what they probably would have. I always love hearing about that. Especially, I mean, in this film, it seems like they were considering very different types of people. Like I would not consider Heath Ledger, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Ewan McGregor to be within the same typecast whatsoever.
No.
And then also apparently, I mean, Ewan McGregor was in Star Wars like right after they like wrapped filming for this movie, and apparently they just like it was on the same set, so it was just
no way.
Flowed right into production.
That's pretty nice for him.
Really convenient for him.
Would love.
Yeah.
Maybe one day for me.
Yeah.
Maybe one day that'll happen. Just flow to the next thing.
Yeah, you're just gonna be like booked and busy.
Yeah.
So soon.
Super.
Yeah. And we're just gonna. I'll have to come. Like one day, this podcast is gonna be happening like in Audrey's trailer on a set.
Hopefully.
And we'll be like squeezing it in.
Fingers crossed. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? We just like bring the microphones in and we're like, sorry, we're just in my trailer. Like, no worries.
Yeah,
like,
no worries. We're just squeezing it in when we can. Don't mind if her makeup artist comes in. She just needs some touch-ups.
They're doing my makeup as I record a podcast.
Yeah.
That
Joey will come with us to Audrey's trailer.
Yeah. He's going to be behind the scenes on the computer.
Yep. Manifesting that.
Yep.
So all in all, your overall take on the movie versus the show?
I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, and it's a beautiful story. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I prefer the musical.
Yeah,
definitely to the movie,
and I think I do too.
But love that they made that adaptation, and I will thoroughly enjoy it forever. And yeah,
I know. I wish we could get a film version of the stage musical.
I know. I wish there was. Is there a professionally filmed video? There is a video of Aaron singing Roxanne, right?
I've only seen like bootleg though.
No, there's like one on TikTok
they
posted.
A very short one that from the Moulin Rouge
TikTok.
Yes, because that was like the initial one that went viral of the opt up.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen like any like extended versions of that. That's why I'm like dying for them to do an updated version for the soundtrack.
100%.
But
yeah,
we'll
love
see.
That.
Okay, so thanks for tuning back in, guys. We missed you, and next week we'll be back talking about jury duty.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about jury duty, so watch it if you haven't.
Yeah,
and we will chit chat it up
because it's a fun freaking show to chat about. It is just like Never been done before. So interesting. Apparently they did it once back in like the 90s, or maybe not that long ago. I don't even know what year they did it, but it's just such a unique production. So
Love.
looking forward to it.
Amazing.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to Dramatic Effect.
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Dramatic Effect Podcast. And don't forget to leave a rating and review. Love you guys.
Bye.